What is an electromechanical clock? This is an image of many of my clocks, and all of my clocks are electromechanical clocks. The clocks are master clocks, individual clocks, and slave clocks. It's practical to keep all these clocks running because electromechanical clocks automatically rewind themselves. In this video, I'm going to concentrate on the master clocks and the individual clocks. They each have a complete mechanical movement and are pendulum driven. Each clock is connected to an electrical source. Slave clocks are also electrical mechanical clocks but do not have a complete mechanical movement. They also require an electrical source but are another story for another time. Okay, so then what is an electromechanical clock? It's a mechanical clock with an electric assist that keeps the mechanical clock movement running. No rewinding by hand ever needed. There are many variations of electromechanical clocks, and we will look closely at clocks from 3 different manufacturers. Each clock has a mechanical clock movement to tell the time, and they also have an electric supply. In these clocks, the electricity is used in different ways. It's used to wind up the mainspring, or push the pendulum, or lift up weights. It's important to understand that in electromechanical clocks, the electricity serves no timekeeping function. Electromechanical clocks predate pure electric clocks by several decades. Batteries appeared in the 1880s and alternating current somewhat later. These are publications the manufacturers of each of these clocks used to extol their use of electricity. In each of these advertisements, electricity is featured. Electricity is used not only to keep the clocks running, but also is used to power their synchronized master clock, slave clock systems. On the left is a master clock made by the Self-Winding Clock Company of New York. In the center, a pulsonetic waiting train turret clock made in the UK by Gents. And the master clock on the right was made by IBM in New York. All were advertised as electric clocks. However, fitting our definition, they are actually electromechanical clocks. This is a master clock made for the military by the Self-Winding Clock Company. This type of master clock was used on military bases. All the base clocks were wired directly to the master. They were synchronized hourly to assure that all base clocks displayed precisely the same time. The pendulum of this self-winding master clock is driven by a spring. The electric component is a vibrating electric motor that automatically rewinds the mainspring each 60 minutes. The electric power comes from a 3-volt DC power source. I have other videos that explain how this rewinding is accomplished. This is a very unique turret or tower clock because it does not need a tower. Electricity eliminates the need for the long pendulum and weight on a long cable. Instead, it can use a short pendulum that is repeatedly pushed electrically. The pendulum is actually pushed a few times each minute. A roller on the armature pushes a lever on the pendulum to keep the pendulum swinging. Now this is where the electric component comes in. The armature is moved when the coil is energized electrically. As the pendulum swing decreases, a hip toggle contact closes, energizing the armature and increasing the pendulum swing. The electric power comes from a 24-volt DC power source. I have a YouTube video that explains this fascinating clock in detail. This grandfather clock was made by IBM for the Commodore Perry Hotel in Toledo, Ohio in 1927. The clock controlled all the clocks in the hotel. The clock has an IBM weight-driven movement. After the weights drop for about 2 days, a switch turns on the electric motor to lift the weights back up. Here the power comes from a conventional 115 volt AC service. So whether it's winding up the weights, winding the mainspring, or directly impulsing the pendulum, for each of these clocks the work is done electrically. This makes these clocks, remember they all have conventional movements, electromechanical clocks. But things change. This is an image of the little motor that started a big revolution in clockmaking. With this motor, there's no need for a mechanical clock movement. In 1918, Henry Warren received a patent for a self-starting AC synchronous motor, and with this motor began the era of electric clocks. True electric clocks do not need a mechanical clock movement. The electric motor serves as the timekeeper. This motor spelled the beginning of the end of the fascinating and interesting and innovative era of electromechanical clocks. I am closing with these images of some very interesting smaller electromechanical clocks. These clocks were made by several different clock companies. The clocks date from the 1890s to the 1940s. They all have mechanical clock movements, and each employs electricity in some form to drive the mechanical clock movement. These clocks all fit our definition because the electricity serves no timekeeping function. Thank you for watching. Clicking the thumbs up helps circulate this video. Subscribe and check the bell if you'd like to be notified when I post a new video. I have many videos related to other vintage electromechanical clocks. You can find them by searching under my name or under Self-Winding Clock Company. Thank you again.